we're getting ready to plot our results. We want to make a nice graph of pressure versus height. That means that height is on the x-axis, the horizontal axis. And the first thing we want to do is pick a scale. How do we do that? Well, what I like to do is to see how much my data points vary over my measurements. So I start, my smallest measurement is 0. And the highest one I measured here was 262.2 centimeters, but I know I actually went one higher than that, right? I did a prediction pressure that at a height that was about 1 meter above the top of my stairs. So that's about 363 centimeters, give or take a little bit. I'm kind of guessing here. But I want to make sure that that height is on my x-axis. So if I go from 0 to 363 centimeters, that gives me a range of 363 centimeters. The next thing I have to know is how many grid lines I have on my graph paper. So if I start down here and I start counting as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I keep counting, I go all the way out to the end, and I have about 85 lines on my graph paper. So I have 363 centimeters of height, right, going up the stairs. And I want to represent that in 85 lines on my graph paper. So I divide 363 by 85, I get 4.27 centimeters for every line on my graph paper, and I'd end right here at about 363. But 4.27, that's a hard number to keep track of. If I come down here at the beginning, I start at 0. The first line is going to represent 4.27, and then 8.54, and then 12.81, and I'm already lost. That's too hard to keep track of all those decimal points here. Let's just pick something that's nice and easy. Let's pick an integer like 4 or 5. So we want to round this off. And the question is, do we want to round down to 4 or do we want to round up to 5? And the answer is we want to round up to 5. Because if you round down, what happens is I have 85 lines along my x-axis, 85 lines. And if I use 4, I'm going to run out over here at the end at 340 centimeters, and I'm not going to get my top measurement on my graph. So I don't want that. But if I use 5, I'll end up at about 425 out here at the end, and that'll include my highest point. So that's good. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to use 5 centimeters per division on my x-axis. And you can see I've already labeled it that way. If I look down here at 0, the first line over is 5, and then 10, 15, 20, and the fifth line is 25. I've labeled it. And then 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. And so every fifth line goes up by 25, right? And that's how I've labeled them here. So my x-axis has a scale that works very nicely for my data. You should determine the scale for the x-axis that makes the most sense for your data. And then see if you can do the y-axis before watching the video.